Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Run in the Paint recap. Today is Friday, April 24th. I'm Miles here with Ben, the two-man game, back at it once again to talk some more playoff basketball. Ben, how are you doing today?
Feeling good and feeling great today. The Browns, I got my Browns jersey on. Shout out the Browns. They had a great night in one of the draft. Congrats to Spencer Fanta and Casey Conception becoming Browns and Cleveland's football team, but we got to get into the Cleveland basketball too tonight.
Yes, we do. Not as much fun for Cleveland basketball with their playoff game here tonight, but some other great games as well to talk about here. So let's get into it. But first, since we're in the middle of the week, we've been doing recaps every day. We're not really doing the full podcast now. It's playoff time. Can't go away from Poeltl. We got to come back to Poeltl and see how we do, because last year and at some points this year, we have been absolutely on fire with Poeltl. So we're going to try to do that again here. So, Ben, who should we guess for our first Poeltl player?
Wrote a guess, RJ Barrett, who did have a big performance against our Cavs today.
All right, let's see. Oh, my goodness.
Ooh, wow.
Huh. Got nearly everything green already. Eastern Conference, 6'6" guard or forward, 25 years old, and is either the number 10 or 11. We could totally get this in two if we lock in. Let's see what we can get here, man. Not in the Atlantic Division. So it's not the Celtics, Sixers, Nets, Knicks, or obviously the Raptors. Wow. All right, we're here. It's time to lock in and try to get this one.
Yeah, thinking here.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about all these teams, who it could be. I already know the comments are probably like typing a whole bunch that they already know who it is. First player that comes to mind. Let's see. Wait, Ben, do you have anyone in mind yet?
No, I'm blanking so far.
First guy that comes to my mind is Josh Green, who's on the Hornets.
Oh, yeah.
Drafted around the similar time as RJ Barrett, I believe a year after. And I want to say he wears the number 10 for the Hornets, and he's a predominantly guard player.
Yeah. Could try.
Want to try that? Josh Green? Sure. Let's see what we can get. Josh Green. Oh man.
Wow, man.
Dude, man, I thought I had it on that one, but it's actually going to be number 11.
Number 11. Anyone else in that division?
Yeah, so we got the Wizards,
the Heat, the Hawks, and Magic 11. Could this be Jaime Hawks?
That's what I was thinking. Is he already 25 years old?
I mean, he could be, I'm thinking. I mean,
do we want to try him?
I guess I can't think of anyone else who it could possibly be.
Why not? Let's try to get Jaime Hawks. Let's see. Yes.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
Good stuff, Ben. Man, we could have had that in two, but we end up getting Jaime Hawks in three. Let us know how long it took you guys to get Jaime Hawks. But let's get into the playoff action that we had last night. As always, you can check the description down below. Skip ahead to hear the game you want to hear us talk about. But let's get started by going down to Atlanta for Game 3 of the Knicks-Hawks series. And Ben, for the second straight game, comes down to the wire with the Atlanta Hawks pulling out the victory. 109-108 the victory. Another 1-point victory for the Atlanta Hawks as New York got off to a pretty slow start. Atlanta was on fire. Knicks tried to make the late comeback, but were unable to complete it. And now Atlanta has the 2-1 series lead over the 3-seeded New York Knicks. Ben, the Atlanta Hawks, this has been a team, of course, it's been on fire over the second half of the season, and a team that we've all had on our radar really the whole season. And these last 2 games, they've played very, very well. As, look at this.
Sorry about that, y'all.
Oh.
Welcome, Joey.
Oh, my goodness.
How are you?
I'm feeling good. I had a bit of a migraine, so I took a nap. Kind of glad I missed that Nuggets game, but but I'm feeling better. Sorry I woke up late. I'm here though.
Hey, you're all good. You got here just at the perfect time. We were just starting to talk about the Hawks-Knicks game because we just wrapped up Poeltl, which we should have had in 2, but we ended up getting it in 3. Shout out to Jaime Jaquez Jr. So, Joey, since you're now joining us, why don't you get us started with the Hawks-Knicks game? I mean, Atlanta started off on fire. They really came out strong. We were talking about how that atmosphere could be really loud the first Hawks playoff game in a number of years there at home. What did you see?
I saw a crazy crowd. I saw the crowd brought it. I specifically turned it on closer in that fourth quarter because I was trying to watch a little bit of the Cavs game. But, man, that crowd was pretty ruckus. But, man, what a finish. What a game. CJ McCollum, what else can you say about him? He looks so comfortable. He looks so confident. He feels like he can make any shot at any time. Oh, and the physical defense that you got to see from the Hawks is truly just a breath of fresh air as well. Like, Kuminga came up huge on defense today, and they needed that. Not to mention, obviously, McCollum, Jalen Johnson was doing his thing. Not too much of Naw, but again, everybody else kind of stepped up. Naw was usually used as just the primary defender on Brunson, trying to disrupt everything.
Yeah, Ben, I guess when you look at these two teams in this game, where do you wanna go to here? What do you think stands out to you more? The way that the Hawks played, I guess offensively, or what they did defensively to New York, forcing some of their guys to struggle a little bit?
Well, I think to me the Hawks defense really stood out, like especially late in the game to get some big stops to help close it out. Like the Hawks' execution on defense then was just phenomenal. Like Yeka Kongwu, he had one, time where he did a really good job of like testing a Jalen Brunson shot and staying with him and forcing a miss towards the end of like the shot clock. And then on that last play of the game, it was really impressive how the Hawks were able to just keep getting so up close to Knicks guys and just making the Knicks like completely uncomfortable and like rushed on that last offensive possession the Knicks had. So that was really well executed there by Atlanta too. And throughout the game, it was good defense. Early on, they set a pretty good tone with nice defense by allowing the Knicks to turn it over a good amount of times early in the game. Make them uncomfortable early in the game. And multiple guys stepped up to play on defense, like Kuminga, as Joey said, and Yucca. It's a good defense, and McCollum had 2 steals, 2 blocks. It's a good defensive stops too, along with the scoring. Dyson Daniels is always a pretty good, reliable defender too, as usual.
Yeah, just a great performance by the Hawks. Jalen Johnson finally having, a big-time impact in this game with 24 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. You mentioned Dyson Daniels, finding a way to impact the game without having, a good three-point shot, but is able to get 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. I mean, when you're able to do that, that's very important. I mean, as we saw for the Knicks, their kind of Swiss Army knife player, Josh Hart, who was so important in the first 2 games, when that player is playing so well, it can make such a big difference for your team. But then you see in this game where Daniels has this great game and Josh Hart has 2 points in 40 minutes. It's just not going to be good enough for these surrounding players. Like Brunson, again, had another, strong game. We'll get to the close for a little bit because, the Hawks did a great job defensively to close the game for the second straight one. I thought Towns was very good at being aggressive and taking it to the basket. I thought he had a very strong game. And OG Anunoby giving you 29 points. He had a phenomenal game, but you get 2 points combined from Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges on 1 for 12 shooting, and 0 from Joey's boy, Mikal Bridges. Joey, you have the floor.
I'm sorry. I know I'm critical of him, but you see why. 5 first-round picks for him. 5. And you're getting 0 out of him. He's just doing cardio at that point. He only played 21 minutes. That's not what you should get out of a starter in the playoffs. You need him, especially a guy like his build who can play and who can defend 1 through 4, 1 through 5 sometimes if they go small ball. Like, he's such a versatile defender. And they only brought him in at the end of the game for when they needed to go defensively. Like, they did not want him down the stretch. Like, at least Josh Hart played, but Mikal Bridges, I'm not even a New York fan, and I feel outraged for them. And I hate the New York Knicks fans. They're annoying. But I feel for you. Like, oh my goodness. You shouldn't. If they even got like a little bit of production out of him, this series could be 3-0. If they just got a little bit of production out of him. But like you said, OG had a couple bailout threes at the buzzer, which were insane. I don't even know how he got that off, but you're finally getting production out of him. Like you said, Karl-Anthony Towns looked better. Josh Hart, yeah, he's been so good so far, but you shouldn't rely on that. You should rely on the guy you traded 5 first-round picks for. That's
well, and here's the thing, though.
Like that third kind of scorer.
No question about it. But the thing is, too, though, like Mikal Bridges, normally in this situation, like I don't know if I've ever seen him have to get benched in the fourth quarter of a playoff game because he isn't able to make shots, but he had to because when you have him and Josh Hart that are both not doing anything on the perimeter, it just makes things difficult. But luckily for New York, Deuce McBride had a huge game off the bench, hitting 5 threes, hit a lot of them in the fourth quarter trying to lead the Knicks comeback, and he was able to be on the floor, and provide some spacing for that team. But Ben, the problem, though, with having Deuce McBride on the floor instead of CJ McCollum is when Brunson and McBride are in the same backcourt against CJ McCollum, who is playing at the level he's playing at right now, he sees food when he looks at the Knicks backcourt, and that's exactly what he did. He was attacking them on every single play, just as we've seen in every game this series.
Yeah, man. Smart veteran move by CJ Tech. Those guys that are smaller than you and that, aren't one of their best defenders, and it's been able to work for him. And it's just been big. CJ McCollum, him playing really well to start this series. Like, the Hawks need one of their guards, McCollum or Alexander Walker, to step it up, play really well to keep up with, like, the Knicks guard play. And it's just been big having McCollum being able to do that and give them a real chance to where this continues, they could possibly win the series.
Yeah, and McCollum with back-to-back clutch plays, in these 2 games, had the step-back baseline jumper in game 2 to give the Hawks the lead, on top of all of his beautiful, just dancing ISO moves on the perimeter. And then in this game, Knicks do make the comeback. They're up by 3, but then Johnson gets a putback layup. The Hawks get a stop by forcing Josh Hart, I believe, to miss a corner 3. And then CJ McCollum gets a pull-up, a step-back elbow jumper over Deuce McBride, which, by the way, Joey, I thought was way too easy for him.
Like I said, he looked so comfortable, confident. He looked like he was working and going against, like, LA Fitness dudes. Like, he looked like he had just an open gym. Like, you have, like, a pad there and you bump off and then just create separation. And it's just all day. Oh my God, it was just way too easy. Like, can I also say one more thing about Mikal Bridges?
Sure, go ahead.
Out of all the games we saw today, he had the worst plus-minus and the highest plus-minus going in either direction out of all the players in the 3 games. He had a -26. Nobody else had like a positive or like a negative more than 24.
Wow. And I know plus minus can sometimes be a deceiving stat, but when you're also a minus 26 with 0 points in a 1-point game, like that's just not good. So I mean, from those standards, I mean 0 points, 4 turnovers, 0 for 3 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. I mean, you could say was the worst player of the day.
Yeah.
Should that be like something we hand out now on the recap? Should we hand out the worst player of the day and the MVP of the day on the podcast?
Honestly, I like that idea. Congratulations, McCollum Bridges. You are the inaugural winner.
You are the originator. I'd be down to start doing that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But anyway, so mention how, CJ McCollum, the game winning or the go-ahead shot near the end was so easy. It was anything but easy at the other end when the Knicks had the ball back. And the thing is, for the second straight game, and everybody knows the ball is going to go to Jalen Brunson. And this Atlanta Hawks defense is so good, and they were able to, because the Knicks took a timeout, they had a chance to get McCollum off the floor, get all their defenders into the game to force a stop. And for the second straight game, when Brunson has the basketball there, they don't get a shot up. They turn it over. As the Hawks did a great job forcing Brunson to catch it in a not really advantageous situation, having to drive it on the right side against Okongwu, and then just put a little too much mustard on the hot dog when trying to bounce it to Josh Hart under the basket there and force the turnover. I mean, this has just been such an impressive clinic by the Hawks the last 2 games, when it comes to clutch time scenarios. And now they put themselves in this position again to be up 2-1 against a New York Knicks team that, of course, has been up and down all season. But, Eastern Conference Finals last year and a co-favorite to make it to the NBA Finals this year heading into the year. And now they're down 2-1 with a must-win game coming up in Game 4 here. Man, I mean, this is definitely one of the most pressure-filled Knicks games coming up here for Game 4 that the Knicks have had in a long time.
Oh, yes. What do you guys think if they do end up losing in this first round? Is Mike Brown immediately on the hot seat? I know it's only been 1 year, but going from Eastern Conference Finals and almost making the finals to losing in the first round, yikes. And I know a lot of people have been critical of Mike Brown lately as well.
Yeah, I think he would be on the hot seat a bit just after that. I think he'll come back the next year as the coach, but I think, I'll give him a bit of criticism, though, if I had to guess, just because of how much talent there is still on the Knicks.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll just have to see. I mean, there have certainly been maneuvers where Mike Brown has had some bad coaching decisions. I'm happy that he made the right one today, putting Mikal Bridges on the bench. That was the right decision. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to come back. But, at the end of the day, you can't, you need your guys to play better, at the end of the day. Mikal Bridges can't be now, through 3 games, he's averaging 7 points per game. That can't be happening. Josh Hart now having 2 points in 40 minutes. That just, no. So, and the defense has to be better. In late game scenarios, they have to be a little bit more smarter, I guess, with their last play. I know when they were struggling at different times last year to the end of the regular season and the playoffs, when Tom Thibodeau got fired, and it was because of the offensive, the basicness of the Knicks offense. It was basically to the extent of all right, at the end of games or at the end of the shot clock, get Brunson the ball and nothing else really happens. And here we are in back-to-back games, and the same thing's going on with a different coach who was supposed to, provide, the solutions to these offensive problems. And we haven't seen it. It blows my mind why we, in a game where Cat is also having a great game, why don't we see a pick and pop or pick and roll with your 2 best players? That just blows my mind.
I really couldn't tell you. Mike Brown is not that bad of a coach, But I certainly have had criticisms because back in the day when he coached the Cavs, when LeBron was here the first time, his offensive game plan was give LeBron the ball, everybody else stand away and just kind of watch. I hated watching his offense. Kind of seeing it again, though, like you said, especially at late games, it's a problem.
And like it's weird though, because even like in those old Cavs games, or the old Cavs days, like at least like we all know that like it was LeBron, and then who's the second option? Like it's not like this is Karl Anthony Towns we're talking about here. You have an elite 2-man game of Brunson and Towns. This wasn't a problem in Sacramento. Like he had a great offense with Fox and Sabonis. It's just crazy that the Knicks are in this position. So I mean, we'll look into previewing Game 4 as it comes up closer this weekend. But Knicks definitely in some trouble. Down 2-1 to this red-hot Atlanta Hawks team, who definitely deserves a lot of credit so far, playing very, very well. Next game in the Eastern Conference, Game 3 of the Cavs-Raptors series, which the Toronto Raptors got on the board in this series, defeated the Cavs 126-104 after a monster fourth quarter where they could not miss a shot. The Cavs couldn't really make a shot, and for that, it ended up being a 22-point differential. Ben, we knew the Raptors were going to come out with desperation. They played very physical, threw out a lot of different punches, which I thought the Cavs responded to like decently. Like it was a close game, like near the beginning of the fourth quarter, but then the Raptors guys just turned it up in the fourth quarter, and that crowd was on another level as well.
Yeah, that was a tough loss for the Cavs. They were up 2-1 at least. Hopefully this is a good wake-up call loss for the Cavs, which I think this loss could serve them all right. Obviously, I wanted to win, and there are still things that definitely have to be better for the Cavs, but credit R.J. Barrett and Scotty Barnes, 33 from each of them. That was a big thing that lifted them this one, getting super good performances from both of those guys. And yeah, R.J. Barrett, he had 6 threes in this game. So Raptors shot 61% for free, and yeah, the Cavs gave up some open looks that I wasn't totally the most pleased about, but credit the Raptors for, knocking those down. That was a big reason for, how they were able to pull through. And also for the Cavs, the turnovers, 20 turnovers. I was surprised the Cavs turned it over that much, and James Harden had 8 of them. And I am a bit concerned with James Harden going forward on turnovers, because that's been an issue for him sometimes, some games. And tonight, yeah, he had a rough go with that, and I think he just sometimes needs to slow it down. Sometimes he rushes and runs into a defender, and then he turns it over. I think that's what he's got to look at.
Yeah, this was the first bad James Harden playoff game, because he's been playing unbelievable, so far this series. Same with Donovan Mitchell, who didn't really play that great either in this game. I thought Mobley played well to start, but then you look and see that he was 4 for 13. It didn't end, the greatest for them either. I mean, Joey, obviously, I know you specifically were pretty confident after the first 2 games going into this one. How do you feel? Has your confidence wavered at all after this Game 3 loss?
Yeah, that's the last time I'm ever going to be positive about the Cavs on this podcast.
What
you guys were saying last night, like, man, you're one of the more critical guys, and then here I am yapping about how I think we're the best team, and now we get humbled in Toronto. But I'm not that concerned. We were expecting at least a bad night out of Harden eventually in the playoffs. We knew it was going to happen. It just happened today. Unfortunately, Mitchell also had a really bad game. When in the future, if Harden does have a bad game, you would hope Mitchell could counterbalance it with a good game of his own. Unfortunately, that did not happen. But yeah, what else could you say? Jurassic Park was on fire. Every guy on Toronto couldn't miss, including the guy I said in the pre-games before the series even started that he killed us in the regular season, and I didn't want him going. And when I was watching the game, as soon as I saw Jamison Battle start catching those threes and just chucking them up there, everyone looked green and golden, and it looked like the most beautiful shot I've ever seen. And I knew it was going to happen. And today it was like you said in our Pick'em chat, Miles, they just left him off the scouting report. And that was a bad miss because he killed you earlier in the season. It's not like he went away. He's been there the whole time.
No, yeah, right. I mean, for reference, by far his best game of the season was back on Halloween when the Cavs, were dealing with injuries themselves. But Battle off the bench had 20 points in 15 minutes, shooting 6 for 6 from 3. Like, it was ridiculous in that game. So, most people may have had Jamison Battle off their radar. Cavs fans certainly did not. They remembered this game. But that was just like an exclamation point too, because we do have to. I think we need to start, like Ben said, with Scotty Barnes, who put together, I think, an all-time playoff performance in Raptors history. That was incredible what he did. 33 points, 11 assists, 5 rebounds, 11 of 17 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, 8 of 10 from the free throw line. Only 1 turnover, by the way, with the 11 assists. Masterclass performance, knocking down tough shots. And this is a guy that, you live with most of these shots. Again, this is a 30% three-point shooter. He's improved mightily in the mid-range game, but these are contested well by Mobley, Jared Allen, Dean Wade. He was just making, big plays, and he was the best player on the court in this game, and that was the difference. And RJ Barrett went on fire in the fourth quarter as well, also going for 33 points. How many did he score in the fourth quarter? 16 in the fourth quarter. So that means RJ Barrett and Jamison Battle combined for 30 points in the fourth quarter on 11 for 11 shooting and 7 for 7 from 3. Obviously, the Cavs, the defense was definitely, a concern in this game, and they just didn't have it near the end of it. But at the other end, too, what do you do when 2 guys go 11 for 11 from the field and don't miss a 3? It's unbelievable.
And their names aren't Scotty Barnes or Brandon Ingram. They're not. It's not even their 2 best scorers. It's
just another game where Ingram isn't that great.
Yeah, I was just saying, Ingram still hasn't really shown up, but everybody else is.
Yeah, I mean, just a great team win for the Raptors. Jakob Poeltl played well. He had definitely a nice impact on this game. The rookie Colin Murray-Boyle, man, he's good. 22 points, 8 rebounds, 11 of 15 from the field. He's not afraid of the contact with the big guys, Mobley and Allen, who I think are contesting his shots pretty well right at the basket. He's just making them. It's kind of an awkward way that he goes up around the basket to finish. It's not really traditional. He does a lot more finesse off the glass, and they're going in. So the Raptors, you'd say, probably had the 3 or 4 best players on the court in this one. And look, the Cavs were in it, they were right there for that push. The whole time I'm thinking, this isn't bad. The Raptors have played very well. They're getting these crazy performances. And you're right in it, to start the fourth quarter. All you need is Harden or Mitchell to, start cooking in the fourth quarter like we've seen at different times this year. But, it just didn't happen. Max Strus had another good game. Jalen Tyson finally had a good game for the Cavs, which was nice to see. But overall, when you go up against a team like Toronto in this game that shoots 57% overall from the field and 14 for 23 from 3, and by the way, they made, I want to say they made their first 5 and their last 8 threes. That was just another level of being on fire.
That's just full of confidence those guys had playing in their home arena for that first playoff game. You may not think oh yeah, the place was going crazy, but clearly it had effect on the players because we haven't seen them shoot nowhere near this the last couple games. Honestly, you rarely saw it during the season.
No, again, Scotty Barnes is a 30% three-point shooter that goes 3 for 5. RJ Barrett is a 34% three-point shooter this year that goes a career best 6 for 8 from 3 in this game. Like most of these, like you're living with if you're the Cavs, which is why I think they should be fine going forward because I think they've done a great job still with their game plan discipline, with forcing shots that you want them to take. But when the Cavs weren't able to knock down shots, because this was a game where they did not shoot the three ball well for most of their players, and the Raptors guys that's when you see them start to fall asleep a bit on back cuts, which happened a few times, and then forgetting about Jamison Battle, So I think, Ben, like you said, I think it's a very good wake-up call for this team because we have seen this team, although they've been great to start this series, the first 2 games, and had their moments in the second half of the year. This has been a team that we've seen all year kind of start off slow until, they turn it on in the fourth quarter. I think this is a good wake-up call that in the playoffs, you can't be doing that no matter what team, especially on the road, because, the other team just gets confidence.
Yeah,
go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I'm right there, and yeah, I all right about the Cavs going forward. Still things that concern me a bit with the Cavs, but I think at least in this series, still, I think they can hopefully find a way to bounce back. But it'll be an interesting game 4. So not easy playing in Toronto, but a win for the Cavs in game 4 would be huge.
Yeah, no question about it. That's a game that's must win for both teams, I'd say. Both teams would love to have it. Raptors don't want to go down 3-1. Cavs, you don't want to go back to Cleveland 2-2 after you were in a great position up 2-0. Last thing I'll say before we move on, Brandon Ingram, again, not the best game, not the worst game in this one, at 12 points, 5 of 9 shooting. And on the broadcast, Brent Barry, Bones, made the point in the second half of the game that I thought was a really good one, where this type of win for the Raptors, where so many different players were able to go on fire, particularly Barnes, Barrett, Murray, Boyles, and Battle. A whole lot of B's there. You'll be able to win a game where all those guys are going might help Brandon Ingram out in the long run as well, because now there's less pressure on him because he knows, in his mind, we can win even if I'm not having a great game. So he can kind of play within the rhythm and the flow of the offense here. And I'm something that to watch going forward is if this team performance by the Raptors will help Brandon Ingram have a big game coming up here, because I'm still waiting for a big game from All-Star Brandon Ingram.
Agreed.
But great win for the Raptors, again, defeating the Cavs by 22. Cavs still with the 2-1 series lead as we head to game 4. The final game that was last night was game 3 of the Minnesota-Denver series. Unfortunately for Denver, at about 4 o'clock today, got the news that Aaron Gordon was going to be a scratch for this one with a calf injury. And Denver just didn't look good right out of the gates. Got destroyed by the Wolves in this one, 113-96. The Wolves got a ton of great performances from their role players. They had 6 guys scoring double figures. And for the Nuggets, you see there, Jokic had a game-high 27. But man, oh man, that was one of the worst Jokic games I've ever seen, Ben. 7 for 26 from the field. And to start out, he was being very aggressive. He was looking for a shot like I've never really seen him do before to start the game. But nothing was going in. It was terrible.
Yeah. Jokic I was surprised Jokic had a rough game too, like he did. You usually don't see him, missing, some of these shots that usually go in, and some of that happened in game 2 as well. And some credit to that has to go to Timberwolves on defense. Like Rudy Gobert's done a great job, with guarding him at times so far in the series, and overall the whole Wolves team in this game played great defense. Like Daniels was fantastic on defense again. He continues to be super confident with the Denver Nuggets.
He backed up his comments after the last game, I'll tell you that.
Oh,
Yeah. And 11 points in the first quarter for Denver. You usually don't see anything that low. I couldn't believe that.
Listen, this is the best offense in the NBA, and they scored 8 points in the first 10 minutes of the game. And I know this Wolves defense is a great defensive team, and I know the Nuggets were missing, Aaron Gordon in this game, but I mean, that's just insane. The best offense in the NBA, which probably means the best offense in NBA history with the way the ratings keep on going, had 8 points in the first 10 minutes of a pivotal game in the playoff series. That it's almost like, who do you talk about more here? Is it the Nuggets duo of Murray and Jokic struggling, or is it just this Wolves defense continuing to have their way here with McDaniels and Rudy Gobert, who, oh my, he deserves so many flowers for that. Like, he's playing at a defensive player of the year level that he was playing at in Utah. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen him defend like this since he was a Timberwolf.
I was going to say the same thing. I really want to talk about Rudy Gobert because we love kind of just leaving him in the dust because he's always been just kind of good, but like really good defensively, but he's such a kind of liability on offense. When sometimes when you talk about the playoffs and stuff, we've always been talking about Jaden McDaniels or Julius Randle and Edwards, but Rudy Gobert has really been him, and Dante DiVincenzo have been huge X factors, especially on the defensive end. Like you said, Jokic struggled mightily today. That a lot of that has to do with Rudy Gobert, because we talked about how Jokic over the last month or so of the regular season and clearly in the playoffs still, he can't really find his outside shot right now. So a lot of his offense will come from the post game, and Rudy Gobert is just dominating him on the defensive end, it seems. Even though Jokic is still going to get his at still getting 27 points, but you're playing fantastic. And like I said, Dante DiVincenzo, this is the second time I'm pulling out the plus-minus stat, but he had the highest plus-minus for that Timberwolves team. He had 4 steals. Like, him on the defensive end, we could talk about his offense. He had 15 points, 3 for 8, so not his best from the 3 points, so not his best shooting performance. But the fact that he on defense is still being this aggressive, just being in the right spot at the right time, reading everything perfectly. I think the whole this entire Wolves team defense is just on another level right now. Obviously, because this is the best offensive team in the season, and they're shutting them down.
Yeah, they've done a magnificent job. On that Jokic point, I went back and crunched the numbers. The last 30 games of the regular season, plus now the first 3 games of this playoff series, Jokic is 44 for 155 from 3, 28% from 3 for Jokic. Like, at this point, this is a shot, honestly, you live with at this point. This is a 33-game sample size of him not shooting the ball well. And I don't know what it is. Like, the shot doesn't even look as good as it, normally does. Like, I don't know exactly. Like, I don't know if it's an injury thing, but, I haven't, I don't know if it's the shooting sleeve on his arm that he wears now. But I don't know what it is, but something is not going right with his shot right now. And that's an enormous problem, because this is another game in this series where Jokic isn't really playing that well. And you combine that with Jamal Murray also getting clamped up. I mean, those two combined to shoot 12 for 43 from the field. Wow.
That's bad.
28% from the field. So Timberwolves deserve a lot of credit. Someone that I don't think we've mentioned, a whole lot yet here, Ben. I want to hear you talk about Ayo Dosunmu for the Wolves, who had 25 points, 9 assists, 10 of 15 from the field. A lot of them were layups in transition. What did you see from this guy's performances? We mentioned how big of an addition it could be filling in the Nickeil Alexander-Walker role. And, man, this game, he was phenomenal off the bench.
Yeah, he was huge. A big spark off the bench. Great energy. He was feeling it in the mid-range game and shots closer to the basket, getting shots to fall there, 10 for 15 for field goal range. It was just, on fire, getting most of the shots to fall down, and 9 assists. He really got his teammates involved too. So I think it's definitely been a nice replacement to make up for losing to Nickeil Alexander-Walker last offseason, and he helped their depth a lot in this game.
Yeah, no question about it. So now we got to bring up the question now with Denver down 2-1, back-to-back losses, and this one not very competitive throughout the whole game. And of course, the Aaron Gordon injury. How concerned are you guys about the Denver Nuggets going forward in this series? Joey, let's start with you.
I'm pretty concerned. And only pretty concerned, not like on a scale out of 10, I would probably 7 or 8. Not dire need yet, because you still have one of, if not the best player on the planet in Jokic, and Murray is having a fantastic year. So the odds of them having a really stinker of a game again, probably unlikely. However, this Wolves team and this defense is legit. Like, you very well could, even if you don't think you're going to have this bad of a stinker, you're still not going to get what you're used to. So you got to find different ways. So there is a sense of urgency. They need to come out not on fire, but definitely not 8 points in 10 minutes bad this next game. And without Aaron Gordon, even if he doesn't come back, or if he does come back, he's been out of the lineup and battle injuries all year. There's been a lot of guys on that team. So I'm not really concerned that they don't have the offense even without him. It's just going to be much harder, and they have to be a lot more efficient with it and try to get atop of this Wolves just tenacious defense.
Ben, what is your concern level with the Denver Nuggets after this loss?
It's concerned. I would say I'm at 7 with that, so I pretty much agree with Joey. Like, I think, Jokic and Murray could bounce back, hopefully. Like, they've found ways to still have some success, like, especially on offense, before without Gordon. But still, it definitely doesn't help them defensively. You can't have Aaron Gordon out there. They still have been able to have Peyton Watson out there. So, a big thing I'll be watching, and a big thing for Denver, if they want to, have a shot to win the series, come back here, is they still don't have Gordon for more games going forward. Other guys are going to have to step up, play good defense, while also hoping Jokic is somehow getting, the shots he likes to take the fall again.
Yeah, I mean, Denver, they need Jokic to have a game, where he's playing up to his capabilities. I mean, they're not going to be able to win this series if he's not playing to his capabilities, especially if these other guys aren't going to give them a whole lot. Like, if Murray's also struggling, and then you get nothing from the rest of these players. Like, they got nothing from Christian Brown, basically nothing from Cam Johnson. Tim Hardaway got off to a brutal start shooting the ball when he was trying to get them out of it. Like, it just wasn't a very good game at all. And then on the Timberwolves side, like, their guys are just playing so well right now, to where, like, they're up 2-1, and it feels like they're up, comfortable 2-1 with the way they played these last 2 games. And Edwards and Randall aren't even having, like, a crazy good series. Like, Edwards, after 3 games, is only putting up 23 points a game, shooting 39% from the field, 25% from 3. Like, he's not having, like, a very good series. But the Wolves are just they're getting it from all their other guys, and right now Denver isn't. Would you guys say that you're more concerned with Denver, or a team we talked about to start off with that's also down 2-1, the New York Knicks?
I would say Oh.
Because I would say I'd say I'm more concerned with Denver.
With Denver, I was gonna say I would be more concerned if I was the Knicks, to be honest, because Atlanta. I know we've talked about Atlanta a bunch, but the momentum they've had over the last month or so, and it's clearly riding in and out where their defense is now picking up a whole lot, and their offense is looking good. CJ McCollum looks like he's back in Portland playing. Like, that's a really tough team. And I just don't think you're going to – I was just looking at the stats. I don't think you're going to get your 4 out of your 5 top three-point shooters. I don't think they're going to go 2 for 19 like Cam Johnson, Christian Brown, Jamal Murray, and Jokic. The only other guy was Tim Hardaway, I would say, is their top other shooter. But those 4 out of 5 guys in your starting lineup, 2 for 19 from 3. I don't think you're going to get that kind of shooting performance again. So I'm a little less concerned about that.
All right, definitely fair there. But that's it for the game 3s from last night. Definitely interesting results in all 3 of them, but all 2-1 leads. No 3-0 advantages for any teams yet after these game 3s. As for the 3 games that are coming up here tonight, some more intriguing ones with all 3, with a lot of games coming up. So first up, 7:00 on Prime, game 3 of the Boston-Philadelphia series after the Sixers got the big win in Boston, knocking out a whole bunch of threes. The Celtics were ice cold in this one. Ben and I were looking before we pressed record, and Joel Embiid is questionable now for the game after the appendectomy. So that's something to definitely be on the watch for if he comes back, because that could definitely make things interesting. But we talked about before, Celtics, if they have a better game, if they shoot anywhere close to where they shoot from 3, should do a lot better in this game. But the big one, 8 p.m. on Prime, game 3 of the Lakers and the Rockets, after the Lakers shockingly took both games without Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. Even with Kevin Durant back in the lineup for game 2, Rockets still just looked flat out awful. But now Houston gets to go home for game 3 with their backs against the walls, the season essentially on the line here. Joey, what are you hoping to see from the Houston Rockets in game 3 tonight?
I need Kevin Durant to be the man. I need him to be aggressive early on and keep it up for the entire 4 quarters, because what we saw in the first half of the last game was really good, and then in the second half he got clamped up, and they just got to do a better job of getting him open, or he just needs to do a better job of getting open. But it's going to be very difficult, and I know you said Joel Embiid is questionable. I also saw that Austin Reeves is also questionable for this game as well. That is extremely concerning if I'm the Rockets, because your offense looks terrible. You're not keeping up. The Lakers are looking good, and now they're getting one of their best offensive players back. That is a very big issue.
I know we kind of touched on it after the game 2 victory, what you do for playing Reeves and Luka if they were more available. Even if Reeves feels like he's good to go, wouldn't you be shocked if you saw him play in game 3? I'd be shocked.
100. I would not do it. Even if the Rockets win, I would. If you really want him to come back for game 4 for the rest, I would start him off on a minute restriction. I'll be completely honest. Maybe give him only 15 to 20 minutes a game. That's kind of all you need to, at least offensively, to get past this Rockets team right now.
Yeah. And then the nightcap game, got a late one on our hands, boys. 10:30 on Prime Video, game 3 of San Antonio versus Portland. And of course, this big game, first home game for Portland in the playoffs in 5 years in the Moda Center. That's one of the best crowds in the business, so can't wait to see how that crowd comes out. But of course, the big story after the Wemby concussion is just what his availability is going to be for the rest of this series. Ben, it was reported that Wemby is, of course, going to travel with the team for games 3 and 4, and he is still listed as questionable for game 3. He isn't for sure out here. I think it's another thing where, like, we talked about. I mean, he just got the concussion in game 2. Be absolutely shocked and stunned if he was somehow available for this game. So going under the assumption that he's not going to be available for this game, Ben, what are you looking to see here from the Spurs as they try to bounce back after that tough game 2 loss?
Well, they need to just get big games from De'Aaron Fox, especially. He has looked the best sometimes recently, and he's going to need to come back and have a big one this game to help lead them, score a bunch of points, dish out assists, especially if, Wemby isn't able to go. And same deal, Stephon Castle. The backcourt's got to be really good and dynamic, and the Spurs really got to be physical with Portland, force them to take tough looks, force them into some 3-point shots to, make Portland settle for. That could be tough on them, though. I mean, maybe Portland could get confident with those. They're at home, but it's just, more scoring. I think it's the main thing for San Antonio. They have played good defense, but the shooting's better for them. This one could prove to be the difference maker as to why they win, but we'll see.
Yeah, Ben, I think you're right on the money. I feel like this is a game that whoever wins the 3-point battle might just have the edge in this sort of series.
That's kind of it right now. You got two teams that aren't necessarily great 3-point shooters, but really stifling defenses. Whoever kind of shoots better, because they do have the players to make them. It's just about who can. If Scoot Henderson comes back out and has all the confidence in the world and doesn't turn it over, it's going to be hard to beat that team, even with Wemby, I would say.
Yeah, so very excited to see how these two teams come out here in this game. Especially the Spurs, to see how they handle not having their, their MVP and defensive player of the year on the floor. Especially coming off of games where their 3 best perimeter scorers really didn't shoot the ball well. When you look at Fox, Castle, and Devin Vassell, Luke Cornett with extended minutes. I'm very curious to see how the center play goes for them against a Trailblazers team that's gotten either, a good performance from one of their centers, whether it's been Klingon or Robert Williams that we saw in the last game. If they give you great center play for all 48 minutes, we'll see how the Spurs try to match it. With Luke Cornett, I believe in the second half when they played more small ball than going to one of their third string centers, like playing like Harrison Barnes at the 5 or Keldon Johnson at the 5, Carter Bryant with some minutes. Curious to see if they'll go with that plan again, or if they'll try to dust up one of these centers that's on the end of their bench, like Bismack Biyombo, Kelly Olynyk, or Mason Plumlee. Like, they've got 3 of them that they could just dust up, see what they can bring on the floor here. And you never know. Like, those could definitely be wild cards in this one.
I would love to see Bismack Biyombo in the big 2-6 in the playoffs. That would be incredible. Kelly Olynyk, stay on the bench. I don't want to see you anywhere near a playoff court anytime.
Especially if you're going to wear those ankle socks like in game 1. Do better. Who do you guys favor in this one going into this? This one's a tough one for me. Do you guys think the Spurs or the Blazers will take care of business in this one?
It's a tough one. Could go either way. I'm going to go off of this, assuming Wemby's not playing. And boy,
let me look and see
I'll
what
go
the
Spurs
is.
still somehow the bounce back right now. I could change my mind tomorrow when you see my pick, Miles, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Spurs because, well, it's not easy totally, and like what they had to do game 2 to adjust after you lose your superstar Wemby to that concussion, then have to figure it out with the other guys like quickly right away in a game. We have seen full games where Spurs were without Wemby, like once at the end of the year against the Trail Blazers in the regular season, where the Spurs still found a way to win, get good performances from guys that found them. And I think they could possibly do that, like again, like in Portland if needed to. We've seen San Antonio just well, and somehow get other guys to step it up even when Wemby's out in games throughout the year. But we'll see.
Yeah, for reference, the line on this one it's a toss up. It's Spurs by 2.5. So it's definitely a close one. Joey, what do you think?
Not having Wemby is a real bummer for San Antonio, but they could easily win this game because they do have the players that can easily step up. But I'm probably going to have to go Portland on this one. Just the way Atlanta, Toronto, those teams that haven't had a playoff game in a minute, those crowds turned up. The team felt it. They turned up. They had extra confidence you haven't seen. Probably going to see the same thing in Portland, the Moda Center, Rip City, man. I think they're going to show up. They're going to be loud, and they're going to give their team that extra energy and that extra boost to just keep going and maybe making a couple extra shots. And once that confidence rolls, it's over.
Yeah, and who knows how that atmosphere will play out on some of these young Spurs guys, because it's easy to forget with how good that they've been, that this is the first rodeo for a lot of these guys, especially the key players on this team. Going through for the first time, their first road playoff atmosphere is going to be in Portland. So we'll see how they, fare in that situation. Again, the games tonight: Game 3, Boston, Philadelphia at 7, 8 o'clock, LA and Houston with the Lakers up 2-0 against the Rockets, and then 10:30, Spurs and Trailblazers. Fun night of NBA playoff basketball continuing here tonight. Before we get out of here, do have a couple of coaching news that we should talk about on here. First one, we'll talk about the thing that happened a few days ago on Tuesday with Billy Donovan stepping down as head coach of the Chicago Bulls after 6 seasons of mediocrity in Chicago. Joey, what were your thoughts when you heard about this decision from Billy Donovan?
It was the smart call. Chicago was probably really looking forward to it, just because his commitment to being mid is astonishing, and that whole organization's commitment. And we saw them actually get rid of players and try to get draft stock and go younger. So they're clearly turning a new leaf. They don't want to be mid anymore. Very proud of Chicago. Very proud.
Yeah, Ben, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it was good that the sides ended up agreeing to move on Chicago versus like wanting to keep him and find a new GM. But I was still like, I don't like that Chicago. Come on. And I was like, when I heard they parted ways, like, oh, okay, good on them. And I think it's smart for Billy Donovan. It seemed time to move on, and maybe now Billy Donovan could get a good opportunity in college basketball, or maybe some other team in the NBA as a head coach. We'll see. I don't know where Donovan could go from here, but I think this is exciting for the Bulls, and Bulls fans should be excited. I think, with the way the ownership has started to do things, they're trying to trend the right way to go on a rebuild and hopefully get back to being really good for there. They seem to hopefully want to find a nice GM and head coach combo that will work well together, and hopefully get that team continuing to build and get back to winning ball that's not like mid-winning ball one day.
Yeah, actual relevancy.
I would love Billy Donovan to to go back to Florida, not the university, but there's probably going to be a job opening down in Central Florida, and maybe or the Orlando Magic vicinity, and maybe he returns to his glory back there.
Well, it's crazy if because I've heard that talked about a lot, and it made me remember hearing about this because I was too young at the time to know this happening when Billy Donovan was going to be the head coach of the Orlando Magic, but then went back to Florida, and then the Magic decided to go with Stan Van Gundy, who ended up taking them to a final with Dwight Howard. But what a full circle thing that would be if Billy Donovan ended up 20 years later going to the Magic.
Yeah, it would be. He knows how to handle a couple of big stars when he coached Joakim Noah and Al Horford down in Florida and won a couple championships. So maybe you can do the same with Paolo and Franz.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good coach, man. He's just in a rough situation there. I think he did a better job in Chicago than some of his years in OKC. Like, I know some of those years, it was pretty frustrating what he was doing with X's and O's. But, yeah, I think it's a good thing for both sides. Like, it's kind of tough for the Bulls. Like, it feels like they never really had built the team where he could really be successful as a coach. But I do like that now they're going to try to completely clean shop and try to, do this from the ground up. So good on the Bulls for that. As far as a coaching hire that happened here today on Thursday, Taylor Jenkins hired by the Milwaukee Bucks to be their next head coach. Of course, the Bucks, a team that had, a roller coaster of a season, really a calendar year ever since the Damian Lillard injury right around this time in last year's playoffs, the stretching of his contract, the signing of Miles Turner, and just not the miscommunication, it feels like, with Giannis. We're hearing two different things. It's just been such a crazy year. Doc Rivers, is steps away. And now they go ahead to hire Taylor Jenkins. You're pretty quickly into their offseason here. But this is a guy that, a good head coach that had a great run with the Memphis Grizzlies for a while. Last year, he was fired near the end of the season. That was the crazy thing. But he's had a year off. And now, he goes to the Bucks. Joey, what was your reaction to hearing that Taylor Jenkins is going to be the Bucks head coach?
I liked it, honestly. I think he's a solid coach. I think he'll do well in Milwaukee. You are right. It's a little early, but to be fair, if they're going to trade Giannis in the summer, they probably should have someone there to maybe try to convince him early on to stay. Maybe there's their last ditch effort, but I'm sorry, Taylor Jenkins. I don't think you're going to be able to coach the Greek freak in Giannis. I think he might be gone. But either way, good hire. I really do kind of enjoy him as a coach. So good on Milwaukee.
Yeah, Ben, what do you think about Taylor Jenkins going to Milwaukee?
It's good hire. He overall did good with Memphis. I mean, it was fortunate how things ended in Memphis, but I didn't think it was quite all his fault what was going on in Memphis. Kind of got unlucky there, but I believe he's a good coach and can do some good player development with the Bucks, with young guys that come in there that they really need. And who knows, Giannis, maybe he's happy about it, maybe he's not, but it's you still don't totally know. Giannis totally find something out. But anyways, I mean, like Joey said, I think no matter if Giannis somehow gets convinced and returns with this, or if he leaves and they trade him in a big deal, that this is a good hire no matter what, especially in my opinion, because I think he's a good player development coach and a younger coach that I think the players there could buy into.
Yeah, the story on the Bucks, I mean, it's the same thing that we've been talking about kind of with Giannis. Like, it feels like they just need to move on from Giannis to go to their next phase. They've already started with, a good head coach that was in a similar position with Memphis, obviously not to the extent of having to trade Giannis, but I mean, they were moving on from the best iteration of their franchise history, moving on from the grit and grind era with, Gasol, Randolph, Conley. He comes in immediately and starts the new era, with Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, and regular season wise, I mean, those were the best years of Grizzlies history. That was he's the winningest coach in Grizzlies history. Didn't lead to much playoff success, but he did a good job as their head coach, and now looking to do the same thing here for Milwaukee. But again, it feels like they're not going to be able to really get the most out of Taylor Jenkins until they actually go into rebuild mode, which can't happen until they trade Giannis.
I can't believe it's already been so many years since that was the core that got the Grizzlies to like a 2 seed in the West. Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson, Dylan Brooks, and Bane. And now look at all of them.
No, it doesn't feel right that's literally an era ago.
Yeah.
That's a preview. That's now a throwback team, essentially. But yeah, crazy there. Taylor Jenkins hired by the Bucks. We'll see what moves they end up making this offseason. We'll see what pick they end up getting. But yeah, excited for some more big playoff action today. We did get the update on J-Dub from the Thunder that he did suffer a grade 1 left hamstring strain and will be reevaluated on a week-to-week basis. So, again, it's not the worst thing ever because this shouldn't be the 3-month thing that I Googled yesterday during the podcast. Just week-to-week, which means, they should be fine for this first round. We'll see. They should be fine for the second round. Hopefully he's fine for eventually if they, later in the second round or in the conference finals. But that is all for us here on the recap. You guys have anything else before we get out of here?
Don't think so.
All right. Well, enjoy your playoff basketball tonight, everyone, once again with the great games here tonight. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA playoff content. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.